Yes. Soon enough, you will forget.
Hello, good evening, and welcome. I am not Sylvanov, as you can clearly see. My name is Michael Walsh, otherwise known on the interwebs as Venture1399. I will be your storyteller for this evening, or the dumpster fire known as Prince William by night. And allow me the privilege of having these fine individuals introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Morgan. I'm playing Melissa Natalie Collie, or Melancholy, and I usually go by Sleepy Sheepy on social media.
Hey, I'm Chase, or Black Coffee Chase, playing Jude St. Germain. I hope this is exciting for you guys as it is for me.
Hi, I'm Natalie Chapman. I go by El Nestra, and I am playing Sarah Strong.
Hello, I'm Mark, and tonight I'm playing Luke Lennox.
This evening's festivities will take place one evening after the activities at the Marrakesh farm. Our scene is going to slowly zoom in to the three monkeys, where we have one proprietor, Sarah Strong, one Dr. St. Germain, and one, how do I put this? Emotionally tossed salad Melancholy after everything she had to go through last evening.
I would have gone with troublemaker, but okay.
You were quite he-boned with a bunch of information, including finding about your sire and then being able to confront her face to face.
It went well.
I thought so, but we'll see how that decision unfolds in our story.
The only thing I regret is not burning down that farm.
That will be saved for a different evening. So, we zoom in on the three monkeys. What is Sarah currently doing right now at the start of our evening?
Well, Sarah has been doing a lot of business in the last days and nights. She, being a ghoul, is able to conduct business during the day, and so she's been actively going after a certain person that she is very much desirous of destroying their financial safe. So she's actually been doing a lot of work on the background.
A little vindictive action taken.
So one of a little bit, yeah. There's some payback coming due, and it's starting, and so that's going to be interesting to unfold in the story.
Right.
One of the things that I've also done is I've painted Mel's room. So Mel's room now has a bright, sunshiny picture on the wall, and it is a famous painting. So it is a forgery of a famous painting.
It is no coincidence that Mel has been spending less time in her room now.
So Mel has a second residence that resides specifically at the Three Monkeys now.
It's kind of been her primary residence after Rico sort of trashed her original one.
That's up for debate. But we'll continue. Jude, you are currently en route in that lovely hearse to the Three Monkeys on a phone call with Carlisle.
You said you wanted to talk?
I did. Things didn't go as planned at the farm, except for Javier's own purposes. I'm hoping that eventually all of us will be able to get together so we can actually form some structure in this.
I gave Javier a timeline of a month. How doable do you think that is?
To be honest, his expertise is not my forte, so I can't give you any specifics on that. What I can tell you is he did solve the issue at the farm that he sought out to do to the knowledge he introduced to me. So
yeah, but why? We're taking this headache on, and it's. Remember, I'm not even sure if I want this place or not.
Well, to my knowledge, it's just another piece of property now.
Well, I feel like that should have been a favor for fixing shit in this dump.
True, but it does expand our current property. In case we need a second location for any extracurricular activities. And it's always good to have something that we can sell off if we require financials.
Anything else?
Mel and Jax had that lovely conversation. I could have sworn 99% you were going to introduce to the two of them. However, it came out between them, and for the moment, everything seems okay. But I'm not going to hold that truce for very long.
See, they're both very volatile.
Volatile, mature, new, powerful. Take your pick.
I canceled. I want you to know I canceled my plans for this, so we can chat.
Well, I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I will not be able to meet you at the Three Monkeys. I have a previous engagement that I have to tie up a loose end from last night. However, I really think that yourself, myself, and Javier need to get together with some of our higher ups to hash some things out in the immediate future.
We'll talk about this more in person.
Absolutely. And he hangs up on him as he was about to say something else. But Carlisle knows better than to question Jude's actions. So, the hearse, unless you have any pit stops that you have to make beforehand, would pull into the parking lot of the Three Monkeys. Sarah, outside of the Three Monkeys, is it currently open or closed?
The Three Monkeys at this time of night would probably be open, but getting close to closing.
Alright. We're going to say it's around 11 o'clock-ish. Luke. Oh, Luke. Where is Luke currently?
Luke is currently at Tullamore Court. It's kind of a fancy area in Manassas, and he's currently hiding on the roof of a detached garage, eyeing very nervously a bunch of dogs circling the place he's hiding. And he finds this very odd, because usually his vampiric nature either makes dogs really not want to deal with him at all, or somewhat like him. And this is very odd because these dogs seem to be very sticking to their training very well. He's very nervous because usually when Luke robs houses, he usually just goes for like middle class or like apartment kind of places. But this time he's aiming for a mansion. And there's something in there he really wants, and he needs to figure out what to do next.
So he's going high scale.
Yeah, he's going for something bigger this time, something bigger than what he's ever tried to go for before.
You have a specific object in mind.
Yeah, there's an office that he's pretty sure is on the second floor, and he's looking for some kind of ID card or like a hard drive or something, because he's figured out that this person works for Iron Mountain security company, which is a real security company in Manassas and is a known site of Ventru and Nosferatu conflict over who controls the data there. So he's looking to get something like that so he can either use it to pawn off to either side or try to gain some advantage.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're currently hiding on top of the detached rooftop of the garage.
Yeah.
Let's say this mansion is 3 stories tall.
Sure,
So,
that sounds good.
at the front end of it, picture your stereotypical Virginian mansion, giant columns out front, very long driveway. Even though it's in a condo-esque type of area, there is spacing between these homes, so it's not going to be exactly easy to draw attention. Why don't you make me a, let's do some. Let's do dexterity and stealth to
Sure.
see your next action, if you're actually choosing to get off of the roof or to get away from the attention of the animals.
I'm gonna try to get away from them. Would my break-in specialty be applicable here or no?
Only if your directive is directly going into the house. So are you currently scoping out the situation before heading in, or directly heading in?
I think I need to scope it out first. This is my first time doing it. I don't want to be too rash.
All right,
Let's go.
so let's actually do wits and awareness, or you can choose wits and investigation.
I'll do wits awareness. Okay.
Tell me what you get.
So that is 5 successes.
5 successes. With 5 successes, you could see almost everything on this side of the house's property, including out back. There is a light that's sticking out of, it seems like some type of dining room or den. You do see shadow activity that passes from the light, so there's definitely somebody downstairs.
Okay.
The front of the house, you don't have any lights.
Okay. Is there any method of getting in that seems especially obvious or easy?
Obvious would be going through the front door. Easy depends on the way that you want to enter. If you want to attempt to go through a window, if you want to climb from a secondary roof on top of the main roof of the house, if you would attempt to enter through the basement, because there is a storm cellar entrance.
Let's stick to the roof. So I'm going to try to sneak from where I am and try to get onto like a second story roof, or try try and find sort of climb up the building so I can get to the roofs and have a better vantage point.
All
from
right.
the
So you did
directly.
state that it is a detached garage.
Yeah,
So
so I
I'm
need to
going-
sneak across to get over there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna roll a d10 to get the actual distance between said garage and said house.
Sure.
I got a 1, so it's actually not too far. Let's say about 10 to 15 feet away.
Okay. I think I can sneak that.
Yeah.
So just dexterity stealth, you'd say?
Yeah.
That is 2 successes.
2 successes for a 15-foot span. I think you're okay in a dimly lit neighborhood. You do scale across.
Okay.
You are on top of a secondary roof currently that lines up with the second-story windows. You have several windows that have the appearance either they are the end of a hallway or going into a bedroom. If you go to the far left of the house and continue to the other end of the secondary roof, you can see a master set of windows that can go into a stairwell that heads downstairs.
Okay, so I think that what I'm looking for is on the 2nd floor. So how about I try to go in through the just one of the windows near me, not the master bedroom.
Let's try
So-
that secondary bedroom. Let's get,
Yeah.
Now, you can do this 2 ways. You can take 3 rounds with a rule of 3 and do intelligence and larceny and take your time to pick the block, or you can attempt to do it in a single turn with wits and larceny.
Well, I don't think that anybody is currently where I'm there, so I might as well take the time.
Okay.
And so I'll take a few rounds to do it. So I'll do wits and larceny.
While you do that roll, we're going to jump to the other side of town.
Sure.
So, back at the 3 monkeys, we have Jude that just pulled into the parking lot, Sarah that's preparing to close up, Mel. Where are you currently in the 3 monkeys?
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
That is a good question.
Hmm.
Because I don't think we came home last night.
You probably didn't.
I don't even think we're there right now. Maybe on our way. Walking.
Does Mel have a car?
No.
Does Mel call an Uber or a taxi?
No.
How does Mel transport herself?
Let's see. Either motorized scooter or just walking.
Okay. I would say walking, you'd probably make it over there in an hour. Motorized scooter, half an hour. Either way, you are at the 3 monkeys, and you do see a hearse parked out front. The engine is still running. Lights are still on at the front end of the 3 monkeys.
I recognize this hearse.
You would have seen it in the hospital parking lot. To my knowledge, you haven't seen it out in public besides that.
I mean, a hearse popping up near a vampire infested area. It's not too weird. We're not gonna really make a note of it. And who's outside?
Right now, just you and the hearse. If Sarah had a car, it would either be parked off to the side, parked in an area that would still allow customers primary access, or I'm assuming she'd be parked out back.
He parks out back, and it's a Nissan Road.
Okay. Besides that, you don't have any other traffic in that parking lot.
I guess we're just heading on, or trying to head on in.
Jude, you would see Mel heading to the front entrance.
Well, I think this is like the time I like hung up. It's because I've like arrived at my destination, and I will wait for her to get in and then get out of my vehicle.
Okay.
I don't want to spook her before she goes in and like just splits.
All right. You're heading inside now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Learning. God damn it. Yeah, we go inside.
The door opens. Sarah, what point of closing up is the three monkeys currently in status-wise? Are there chairs on top of tables? Are there things just being currently shut down?
There's chairs on top of tables. We've just started to turn. The kitchen's been cleaned. We're trying to get the employees, who are different employees than you're used to seeing at the Three Monkeys. Joe's not there. Luke is not there. Sarah is the only person you know when you walk in who's actually there, and she's speaking to a server that you've never met before. And so she's essentially taken a quick look at the person who's come into the Three Monkeys and is starting to push the server to the clock out area in the kitchen so that the server can leave. Noticing that Mel has come in, and she looks rather pale.
So Joe is still MIA. And there's a pale server in front of you. Mel, the scene is yours. And Jude, feel free to interject whenever you feel appropriate.
So like, I'm assuming as soon as like Mel like stepped in, like I went in and like quickly just like basically like pushed the door and like knocked into her and be like, fancy, strange meeting you here.
I live here, basically. I
know that.
actually
I'm trying to do the whole pleasant thing.
Yeah, I was actually just stopping for like, change clothes and stuff. I'm on my way out. I won't bug you.
Like, I need you to do that thing with Helen.
You're not gonna trick me into
I didn't
killing...
trick you the first time.
Felt like a trick.
If I open up your head, would there be any wrinkles, or is it just completely smooth?
I think you'd struggle to find anything at all. Head empty. Only vampire. Is that what you want? Is that the answer you want?
That was a forced laugh, because that was not funny.
Yeah, neither was yours.
Where is everyone else? Where is your where's your vampire mommy?
She's going through some shit. Needs some space.
I'm aware. Probably before you, but
well, yeah. No one ever tells me shit.
At this point, Sarah's going to come back in after locking up the back door, after the server is left. Making sure that there's just the two of them left in Three Monkeys. And we're going to say, so what can I get you?
I was supposed to meet CJ here. But he's not going to show, and I actually canceled pretty important plans to be here, so I figured we could see Helen, figure this out.
am I your backup?
I believe you said, heard me say I had plans, and then I needed to meet up with CJ, so you were like tertiary in all of this.
And that's supposed to make this more appealing how?
I just want to make it accurate, paint a correct picture.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think I'm gonna go on another walk. I'll go grab my shit.
Well, either you do this with Helen, or she becomes a statistic. And I'm not sure how much Helen knows. The hospital was able to get next of kin and stuff like that. I don't know how much they know. Am I threatening enough? Is it too convoluted? Do you know what I'm saying?
Mel is actually gonna walk up to Jude and look up at him, stare him right in the eyes. I no longer have any more fucks to give anything, you know? Whatever you do to her, I will return, like, tenfold. And I don't give a shit about this stupid masquerade bullshit.
Well, I won't have to do anything.
The cams will do it.
I will take down as many of you with me as I can. How's that sound?
Sounds like you're in here for a short time.
Anything eventful happened last night? Because you didn't return. I wonder what happened.
A big old family reunion, you know? Up at the old Marrakesh farm.
Oh, you didn't go there.
You know, so fucked up Rico's car. That was also pretty fun.
Oh, you hurt Rosalita.
Yeah.
That's not gonna go over well.
It didn't.
Look, I'm not the one to give you any push to actually duel another. But your choices are extremely limited. You still have the two choices. Doing nothing is not going to work.
But doing nothing is a choice.
It is a choice, but it won't result in anything that Mel wants.
Whatever. Let's get this over with then.
Shall we go to the hospital?
Yeah. You are free to tag along. Miss Strong.
Thank you. I
We'll be
appreciate
waiting.
your hospitality.
We will be waiting in the car, and I will get up and leave and start the vehicle.
Mel, do you want to go with him, or do you want me to drive you?
Mel's already out the door.
We're gonna pause and jump back over to the mansion, where we're gonna find out what Luke rolled to get in.
I got a 4.
With a 4, you do get in. Are you carrying any specific tools to get in, or are you using one finger? Or...
I just have like some basic like standard issue utility keys that like kind of people like tenant apartments have, because some security systems usually you have a like universal key you can buy on eBay or something. And besides that, he just has like some small lock picks, his phone on silent. I a gun, like a small handgun, and besides that, not much.
Okay. You do notice on the actual window frame, even though it's an older mansion, and it is a highly expensive area, everything is very pristine. It looks as if these windows like just got done, maybe even only weeks ago. It doesn't give any real challenge to you to break in, and with
sorry. Could I have one thing? Sorry.
Sure.
I am wearing a a ski mask.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Where's your ski mask?
No, I forgot. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So
Yes.
you do creak window open. It is an older house, but it's a nice smooth push. You do step inside. It is a bedroom. It seems like some type of guest room. Single bed. Carolina style dresser, armoire. There is a closet. There is a semi-wall side mirror on the far wall, and there is a door to the northeastern section of the room facing against the window.
Okay. Luke's gonna
And
get down.
The lights are off.
The lights are off. Okay, that's good. So he's gonna get down on all fours, and he suddenly looks like anyone who could see him would see he's a lot more, maybe cat-like or maybe even like rat-like. He's like on all fours. He's moving like very twitchily. It seems that being in this house, being in this darkness, has like changed his demeanor in some way. And he's gonna creep up to the door and listen very carefully at it to see if he can hear if there's anyone around him or near him.
You do crawl up to the door.
Sure.
You can make me a wits and awareness as you slide your head up against the wooden frame of the doorway.
Okay, let's do it. Best roll. So that is... Oop, only 4 successes.
Only 4.
Yeah,
You
it's
do
my best
feel-
roll. It's my best thing.
You do feel vibrations downstairs. Obvious vibrations, like there's at least 3 people who are interacting. With 4 successes, you can definitely tell there's at least 2 of them actively moving around, but you can distinctly hear 3 separate voices. The other thing is you don't hear anything upstairs.
Nothing upstairs. Okay. Okay, he's gonna reach up, his little hand, turn the door, push it open, and then just start moving very carefully and very softly. Every door he comes at, he's gonna just open it a crack and see if it's the office he thinks he's looking for. And he'll just keep proceeding there, making sure always to be almost at like an animal like alertness, like kind of how like a bird like jumps away from you as you reach it, that kind of level of awareness of the noise downstairs. And I'm using enhanced senses in case that matters.
Dexterity and stealth.
Let's do it.
Difficulty 2.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, luckily I got a 2.
Perfect.
8 in the 6.
You met it. So you start going down this hallway, and this hallway does not have any light currently on it. The only illumination that you see is something partial out from the opposite end of the hallway that you can only determine with a 2 as possibly a street light.
Okay.
The other illumination is coming from the stairwell to your left, from below. So
Okay.
you start heading down the hall, just as you described, checking door handles one by one, giving it a crack and a nudge, peeking in, putting up an ear against it. By the third door, it's locked. And past the third door, there's only one other room before the window at the other end of the hall.
Huh. And when I listened at this door, I didn't hear anything on the other side. The locked one?
You said you have enhanced senses?
Yes.
Is that through a skill, or you activating
That's a discipline.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called heightened senses.
Heightened senses aspects 1.
Yeah.
What are you specifically heightening? Hearing?
My hearing, yeah.
Okay. With that, you put your ear up to the door. You hear a hum. A hum that can be described as possibly something electronic.
Bingo. This is it. Okay. So I have to try to pick this lock then, or find a way through.
The actual lock has a 9-digit keypad on it. And a handle.
Okay, this is gonna be hard then. If I look at the keypad, are any of the numbers obviously worn away?
It looks to me like a wits and awareness difficulty 4, because
Let's do it.
if you had heightened senses with sight, you would definitely have a lower difficulty on that check.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm very sorry I'm rolling this. Okay.
What'd you roll?
I got a critical success with 5 successes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can clearly see, even though it is a newer system that is on here, there's definitely some type of chipping away of paint or acrylic that was some type of film that went over each key. Over 3 select keys. 1, 3, and 6.
1, 3, and 6. Okay, so that means my only... So Luke's thinking that his only option at this point is he has to try to input them. He's kind of worried they'll set off an alarm or something. Because even if he knows the keys, doesn't know the order.
Why don't you make me a wits and streetwise check?
Okay. Let's see. Ooh, I'm not good at that.
Trying to give you a chance here, bro.
Okay. That's just 2 successes.
2 successes is all you needed.
Oh, okay.
You know that the address to this fine establishment is 1366.
Perfect. Okay. Luke will take his finger, look left and right, and tap it in as carefully as he can, and then try the handle.
After you hit that second 6, a green light pops on, and you hear a very audible beep as the sound of a unlocking occurs in front of you.
That's not good. Okay, he's gonna open it and then close it behind him and then examine the room he's in.
The door is shut behind you. As soon as you shut it, you hear something odd. You hear the beep again and a loud slam. Something mechanical. As you hear that behind you, you are suddenly surprised, and out of your left ear, the only window that is in that room, there seems to be some type of metallic shutter that comes from above that slams down, and you hear the same type of slam from across the room. A red illumination comes from the ceiling.
Okay. First things first. I guess this is the point where he would want to maybe contact. Who would he contact? I guess he'd contact Sarah. He's the only one. She's the only one he really trusts. and he just texts her really quickly. He texts her, "Come to this address. I need help. Be careful." And then as he does that, you can see the light coming off him onto his screen, and he takes his fist and he smashes into the red light above him, trying to get the room dark.
We're gonna pause right before your fist hits, and we're gonna cut back to the three monkeys. As you are about to lock up outside, Sarah, and Mel and Jude are currently outside, planning on being en route to the hospital, you receive a text.
Luke, what do you need? Come to this address. Help. What has he got himself into now? I'll see what I can do.
Is that what you say or text back to him?
That's what I text back to him.
Okay. What does Sarah do next?
Well, I believe Jude and Mel are currently near the hearse or in the hearse. So I finish locking up, and then I go to the hearse and I say, there might be a bit of a issue with Luke. He's requesting some help. Would you be willing to assist me in helping him?
What do you think, Mel?
What?
Or you're always
Luke
saying
is in trouble.
you don't have a voice, or you're not listened to, or
No. No, I'm always saying that nobody tells me shit.
we're telling you now. What would you like to do about it?
I don't know. Probably should go help him. What?
Legitimately wanted to see what your reaction was, because like accepting this also means accepting responsibility for whatever comes next, whatever Luke brings down on us. Just keep that in mind. This is a lesson. Me giving you the full information.
Let's go then.
Tell Luke he owes us a big one,
I will.
and I'm not going in my vehicle.
We can take mine. Yours is a little obvious.
What kind of car does Sarah have?
A Nissan Rogue.
Okay. Color?
Red. So she escorts them to the back of the Three Monkeys where her vehicle is parked and offers them to get in. She clicks the button on the car and the lights flash, the doors unlock,
Who's sitting where?
and Sarah gets into the driver's seat.
Sitting behind the driver.
Some shotgun.
I text Luke on our way, and I check the address that he has texted me so that we can get to the right location.
Very well. We're gonna pause. Jump back over to Luke. Luke, your hand smashes into the light. You now have broken shards of glass sticking out of your hand. You could take one superficial damage, and because it is superficial and you aren't injured, You only take half. But
Yeah.
you do have several shards sticking out of the front top part of your hand and knuckles.
That's fine for now.
It is smashed.
Good. Is it dark in the room now?
It is, except for the lights on the keyboard and around the rim of the screensaver covered computer that is behind the desk.
Okay. So I'm going to his eyes will start to glow red and the darkness is no longer an obstacle for him. And I want to start
So you're activating Eyes of the Beast?
Eyes of the Beast, yeah.
Okay.
I want to somewhat frantically search the room. But first I want to prep my feral weapons. So
Before you do,
his hand...
something I actually
Sorry?
forgot for all of our kindred this evening. Would you mind making me a rouse check? And I did see about your Blush of Life, Jude. So,
Yeah.
you
Good,
do not
good
have
on the
to
rouse.
do that.
I mean, sorry. Bad on the rouse, good on the flush of life.
So it's 2 hunger.
Yeah, I failed too, so I'm at 2 hunger.
Can you
Male.
critically fail a rouse check?
You can't really critically fail a rouse check.
Okay, good. Then I just
It's
failed it.
just pass or fail. So everybody's at 2. Everybody's peckish.
Okay.
I could eat.
Let's see if Luke gets more peckish by invoking feral weapons on the smashed hand as his fingers suddenly start to sublime into something more like talons, like claws, like knives for fingers.
Okay.
I succeed that one.
You succeed, and as you look at your hands, even the glass punctured, encrusted one, your fingers start to curl out and harden, shell over with that chitinous type of structure. But
Yeah,
these
I only do it
more
for...
like
Sorry,
bird-esque, or are they wolf?
sorry, what's the first option?
Like a bird. Like
Oh, they're-
talons.
I'd say they're more like bird's talons.
So they are very arcing, very cresting, very puncture-esque, as opposed to sharp.
Yeah, no, it's puncture-esque.
Okay.
And he does it to his... He does his right hand because he wants to be able to do stuff with his left hand still.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's gonna start. He's gonna like try to destroy the computer because he doesn't want any light in the room. Basically,
Okay.
obviously he's gonna destroy the monitor, not the computer, but just the monitor
You could easily smash
and
that.
and the keyboard.
Okay.
And now he's gonna search the room. He wants to find any kind of like ID card or like a thumb drive, and 2, he wants to find where the like computer tower is.
Wits and investigation, make sure to substitute your 2
Yeah.
blood dice.
Wits investigation.
You look around the interior of this room. It is different from a bedroom that you first entered. The linings on the walls seem wooden, but it's more like wooden paneling. The floor is tiled over. It is definitely set up as more of a den type of atmosphere than an office. There are 2 bookshelves along the sides. There's only a single chair. It's not really meant for meetings. It has to be for personal work or for
Okay.
some other type of detail.
Okay, searching the room, I get 2 successes.
2 successes. What are you specifically looking for?
I'm looking for either some kind of like thumb drive, some obvious like data storage, a detachable hard drive, or yeah, just that, or some kind of like ID card that could possibly be to the data facility that this person I think is associated with.
Okay. You do search the desk. even though there are locks on it, the 2 successes combined with your previous larceny roll, I'm not going to make it too difficult for you to be able to pop a simple desk lock. The main drawer pulls out. There's a bunch of stationary stuff. You open up the right drawer, there is a lockbox. And you open up the left drawer, and there's something that's shaped in a form of a dislocated L that has some type of lock on it. It is
So it's like a
metal case about this big.
Okay.
That goes just like this.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna grab the lockbox first.
The
And then-
lockbox is about the size of a shoebox.
Okay, maybe not that first. Let's go with the L first.
The L-shaped box has 2 distinct locks. One seems like an oversized key. The other one seems more like a small slit, almost not as rigid as a USB older style, but there's something that definitely sticks in there before you turn the key.
Okay. Let's see it. I feel like Luke would be too much in a panic right now to really want to try to solve the lock. So he's just gonna hold it, like keep it, because you said smaller, right?
Yeah, it's about this big.
Okay, you can shove that in like a jacket pocket or something.
Yeah.
And then the lockbox, I guess either try to, I don't know, I want to keep my wits about me. I'm going to try to open it in some way.
Okay. That has a simple... You ever see like a Samsonite briefcase?
Yeah, where they have like the rolling things.
Like the 2 combo locks on it?
Yes.
It has that, but it's in the shape of a shoebox, and it is old style armored metallic type of material.
I'm going to test my talent against it and see if I can kind of maybe try to physically compromise the lock.
What do you mean?
So like I'm gonna take my talon, try to push it, and try to just like see if my talons are strong to pierce the metal and go through the lock. Or is that too much? Yeah.
Before you do that,
Sure.
since you are experienced specifically in larceny, do you have any specialties in it? Because I don't have a copy of your character sheet.
No, I just have general larceny. I'm not good
Okay.
at anything specifically.
How high is your rating?
It's a 2.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you make a larceny and a intelligence check.
Sure. Let's see if I can realize something. Ooh, that is a oh, that's very bad. That's a bestial failure.
Ooh.
So you do know from common sense that you have heightened hearing.
Yes.
So you do attempt to actually just put the box up to your ear, and with a taloned clawed thumb, you start to stroke through the combinations. You actually get the first one to click. You switch it over, and you roll with the second one, and your talon actually gets jammed inside the space between the mechanism and the rim, to the point that your talon is now jammed inside the box. You go to pull your hand away, and the box is literally hanging off your thumb. You start to flail about a bit in order to try to get it off. Beast starts to speak in the back of your mind that says, "This isn't the best idea. We need to get this thing off your fucking hand. You need to get the fuck out." And you start to panic. You start to slam it about on the top of the desk, attempting to get it off. Pause. Back in the car, You guys are about 3/4 of the way over there. Any conversation in
What are the
the car?
Luke
You know
has
Mel.
lately been
Mel
Luke has
being-
lately been running off on his own, not showing up for shifts. Sarah is not overly pleased and can't believe that he's asked her for help, but based on how important or how much he has helped her and will help her, she believes that this is a good thing to do. One of the things that's on the car radio is a 90s tune from Bryan Adams called There Will Never Be Another Tonight.
Like in this moment, like Jude's eyes meet Mel's, and like we both have no idea what the fuck this song is.
Mel is being her usual moody self and silently staring out the window aside from that moment.
Problem with having this whole you view the Camarilla through certain rose-colored glasses. I do acknowledge that, but they will kill her and her whole family if you don't make her a ghoul or a killer. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Try to make sure she does.
I mean, whatever she chooses is up to her, and she'll live with those consequences. Or won't. So what do you think this matter pertains to with Luke?
They got caught.
What do you mean?
Well, like, he does all that breaking stuff.
Oh, that explains things. When you guys leave the Three Monkeys, I don't tend to follow you or know what you're doing. You leave and you do what you will.
Maybe we should both be keeping a tighter leash.
Yes, I agree. But there's not much I can do about it. The leash has to come from them. They have to want to. Be careful. They'll learn. They're both young. Luke's not so young. He should know better.
Say I am young and I know better.
The neighborhood doesn't really have an
Sure.
entrance. The scenery just seems to change around you. Less urban, more upscale rural. The property lines seem to separate quite a ways, even though you're still a distance of being able to see a house from a house. Beyond that, it could be considered sticks. You do come up to the front end of the address. On your left is woods. On your right is a very large, very long stone wall that has an elaborate metal gate with a scepter and a circle that has pips that stick out of the sides of it as a center marker on it. There are two ornate street lamps that protrude from the sides of the gate, and about every 15 to 20 feet there is a smaller version of said street lamp that adorns the tops of the wall. You can see from the street level up, not too steep of a hill. I want to say about 55 to 60 yards up on almost a straight shot that curves off to your left. It does connect to a separated garage and a 3-story mansion with, as what was described earlier, several outdoor columns, an older style colonial. Yes, Jude.
Do we recognize the symbol?
You can make your roll.
Oh joy, more bougie shit.
Let's go with, actually, what are you trying to discern from the symbol?
If I've seen it somewhere, like in the city, if I know who, I basically want to know who I'm dealing with, and yeah.
Intelligence and academics.
Am I able to roll that as well?
Yes. I would say so.
I've been in the area for quite some time.
I don't know your character's history specifics, but from what Sylvanov has told me, you are quite knowledgeable about certain aspects.
3 successes.
I got you.
Okay. With 2, you're not really going to recognize it beyond it could be a clan symbol. Jude, with 3, you do recognize the scepter as part of the Ventrue symbol. However, it is not the current Ventrue symbol. It is missing a sword. You do not know the significance of the ring.
Okay. Do you know what specifically that is? I'll point over to the symbol.
No, I think it might be a clan's.
Yeah, it is. So this makes it a lot easier and harder at the same time.
Yes, they at least know about kindred.
Gonna...
Where would you like me to park?
I'm going to be a distraction. Drop me off. Well, I will be going to the front, and both of you are going to be securing him from wherever he is from the outside.
Okay. I drop you off, and then I park near the woods.
I'm gonna go straight.
At which end? Are you parking to the far left of the property or the far right? You arrived from the far right.
We will go to the far left.
Alright, so as you drop him off, you continue down the side of the property. About how far down?
Just out of line of sight of the windows.
Okay, so I would say about 60 to 70 yards, since it is up on a hill. Jude, you stated that you wanted to perform some type of distraction. And make me a wits and awareness. With a 2, at first glance, you look at the front entrance. There is a keypad that comes out on a 90 that goes into the ground on a metal piece of conduit that seems to have a 9-digit section and a rectangular button on the bottom of it that seems to go to some type of call box. On the opposite end of the gate, you do see a CCTV camera that is specifically faced at the keypad. So where you're currently standing, you are outside of the camera's vision.
I'm gonna go be in the camera's vision and hit the button.
Yes.
Can I I'm here to speak about that symbol you got outside.
Do you have an appointment?
I do not.
Please call back and make an appointment.
This is
The line
pertinent.
goes dead.
I'll hit it again.
Sir, I'm sorry, but you need to make an appointment.
Tell your boss that this is important.
I don't currently have a supervisor on. You'd have to come back after 8 a.m.
On a scale from 1 to 10, this is a 10. I'm calling for everyone in the house's safety.
I'm sorry, if this is some type of emergency, you can call the police or 911.
This is an emergency.
What kind of
However, I will-
emergency?
You
would
can
hear
send-
behind you the camera start to shift.
Yeah, I'm going to try to have my back towards it as much as possible.
Just from hearing it, you don't even have to turn around. You can hear it seems to only be able to go half around in a semicircle. It eventually stops after a couple of turns. You assume it's still facing you. Well, the back of you.
Put out a line. I'm doing this as a favor.
Sir, I'm sorry, but without an appointment, I can't let anybody in. Unless this is a real emergency, you can feel free to call the police. Have a nice day. And clicks off again. Sarah and Mel. Go ahead, Mel.
So, in order to get around my unique handicap with my own phone, I have, whenever I use it, I have a pair of gloves that I put on, as well as I keep it in a airtight, watertight, whatever type bag.
Yep.
Right, so I don't have to touch it directly. Right. So I'm pulling out my phone.
Okay.
We're looking up the address and just trying to figure out who lives here.
Okay. You can make me a intelligence, and what are you specifically trying to look up? As who owns it, or what purpose it serves?
Just who owns it.
That would be science, intelligence, and technology. And if you have a specialty that is for finding information online or being able to decrypt public servers, feel free to add it in.
Right.
Sarah, while she's doing that, you can make me a wits and awareness.
We're gonna burn a willpower.
Okay. Burning a willpower.
Thought you were gonna say I'm gonna burn a building at first house.
That
God
would
damn.
surprise me.
There- Look, the
Six
farm is a
critical success.
special occasion. So, question. Willpower, how many dice do I reroll?
You can pre-roll up to 3 non-blood dice per willpower you burn.
Okay, that is now 2 successes.
Okay. Sarah, we're going to start with you. When you see the interaction between Jude and the intercom, after several minutes that pass over, you see the lights in the house increase. Originally, it was just downstairs in the living room area. Now it seems to be expanding on the first floor actually quite frantically. Mel, with 2 successes, you don't have a specific identification of who owns this house. You do have a company name that owns it. It would be the Stroiga Corporation.
Well, we can start looking up the Stroiga.
Okay. You can take several rounds to look it up, and that would be intelligence and technology in order to research it, or you can do wits and technology to do like a Zillow or some type of real estate search.
That would be what we want to do. Wits and technology.
Okay. Sarah.
I'm going to text Luke and say, we're outside. How did you get in?
We're going to shoot the scene back to Luke, who is currently attempting to get a lockbox off of a clawed hand with red inflamed eyes, and you feel a vibration in your pocket.
For now, I'm gonna kind of ignore it. I want to get this lockbox off my hand really bad. My beast is like in full on, like, usually my beast is like kind of cowardly. Now it's like feeling like really spooked and really like
We need to get
aggravated.
it off right now.
Yeah, it needs to get this off fucking right now. I'm gonna see if I can. Let me see. I got it on my hand. And just smashing it hasn't seemed to done anything, has it?
It's pushed the claw in.
I'm gonna see if I can.
And
maybe
you
with
are attempting to the outside of the box.
I'm gonna see if I can just kind of rip off that part of the box entirely.
Let's do strength and athletics.
Okay. And
Are you adding in anything extra? Are you surging for blood? Are you adding in, because I don't know your disciplines.
I think I'm gonna blood surge this. So let's see if I get hungry first.
Roll a blood die.
So I don't get hungrier. That means I add 2 to the stat, right?
What attribute are you going to add it to?
I guess strength, because that's what's for this test.
Okay. That will last for the remainder of the scene.
Okay. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, that's 2 successes.
2 successes. You do manage to get it off, but you rip off the end of your talon.
Okay, so I'm missing 1 talon now. I only have 4.
And add a half of superficial damage. So you currently have 1 full superficial damage on you.
Yeah, his muscles seem to suddenly like just like grow and just bulk out. And he's just like, he looks wild now. So I'm gonna take the box, see if I can see what's in it really quickly. Looking through the hole I made. Yes.
You have about 15 to 20 flash drives in here.
Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna just see if I can just hold on to the. No, I need to see if I can.
Discernible feature on them is there's several colors. There's a couple that are red, a couple that are blue, a couple that are purple, a couple that are black.
Okay. I need to figure out which ones. So 15. I'm gonna try to shove as many as I can into my pockets.
Okay. You can easily shove 15 to 20 flash drives into a single pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I got the box in my jacket pocket, my flash drives in my pants pocket, and I guess the only thing left is I'm gonna try to see if I can take the computer out. Just like get the wire, take out the wire, just see if I can grab the tower.
Okay.
Yeah. And at that point, I'll check the phone. And I'll just text back really quickly, 2nd story window, and then close it. And then I'm going to try to see where is the best place I could hide such that I could just rush out or ambush whoever opens the door.
We're gonna.
Or actually, no. I should try the door first. If I try the door, what happens?
You can definitely try it if you want to.
I'm gonna try the door.
You try the door, and it is locked. The actual handle has 0 give on it. It is not like the outside when you first tried it, and it had a little bit. This is completely solid.
Okay. Gonna see if. Well, my claws are able to tear through that lockbox. Maybe they can tear through the bars on the windows.
So, the item that came down on the windows, it seemed like a metal shutter. So think of it kind of like
so
if you're outside in the city at certain shops, the metal screening that comes down.
Oh, I got you.
It seemed to come down automated.
Okay. So it seems unlikely I could try to claw my way through it and break through.
You can try whatever you want. You just tell me and I'll tell you what to roll.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna swing for the bushes, try to rip this open, try to use my claws somehow to compromise it.
Okay. We're gonna do strength and athletics. Difficulty 4.
Ooh, this will not be good. That is it's a failure. 0 successes.
Do you have anything else, or is it just a failure?
It's just a failure. It's not
Okay.
a bestial failure. It's just a normal failure.
So, you do try to claw at this thing several times. Your supernatural claws do scrape up against it. Sparks do fly a couple of times. However, you're not really seeming to be making a dent on this. As you are doing this, back in the car at Sarah's vantage point, because of her 6 successes, you do look back up at...
And critical.
Yes. You do look back up at the house again. And on the 2nd floor, after receiving that text, you do see there is a window that does not seem to have a reflective surface on it on the 2nd floor. And you do hear that something is hitting up against it. Although faint, it sounds like maybe an aluminum baseball bat that might be clipping the edge of a piece of metal several times, and it stops.
Now, I think he's up there. In that window.
So 4 successes. The blood die. One of the blood dice was a 10. I don't know. I'm still confused.
So 4 successes.
Yeah.
You went through the realty site, correct?
Yep.
All right. You do see that there was a private sale on the property about 5 years ago. However, it does not have the name of a seller or a purchaser. It does have the name of that corporation again. And the property is not registered as residential anymore. It is registered as commercial, even though if you turn and look out the window, it is clearly a mansion, and there is nothing else outside. There is no business signage besides an outdoor separated garage that doesn't seem out of the ordinary. It doesn't seem like somebody is running any kind of business out of this house.
Before we put our phone away for now, we're going to just sort of put out a a question to our community, the non-heads, right? Or influence, I think. Culture, whatever. Just a simple what is it? Has anyone heard anything about Sinclair? in principally any rumors or whatever.
So
I'll put our phone away.
you're specifically asking over the internet to your followers?
Yeah, but it's a private community.
Is it private
Like-
like the dark web, or is it private like a Discord server?
Pretty like a Discord server.
Okay.
It's not private, but it's, you know,
Can be monitored.
yes.
Let's make it. Okay. I would like you to roll. What kind of hold would you say that you have over your influence? Is it more manipulative or more charisma based?
It is definitely charisma based.
Okay, so let's do charisma and investigation. And tell me specifically what you're typing out.
Alright. I will think that up while I roll my dice.
Well, before you roll your dice, I need you to tell me, because
Oh,
depending on what you ask, how you pass and fail is going to determine the answer.
alright. So what we're asking is just like, just if Sinclair has popped up in, like, you know, the news or anything like that, like in the usual sort of way that corporations tend to make the news nowadays, you know, just basically it's like, hey, y'all hear anything about that Sinclair or that Sinclair company?
Okay. Roll it up. While you roll it up, Jude. Oh, Sarah.
At this point, does Mel say Sinclair out loud?
No, we're typing this.
Okay. At this point, Sarah's identified the window that Luke has potentially gone through in order to get into the house. She's realized that there's some noise coming from that window, and she basically wants to determine by looking around, by getting out of the car and looking around from the edge of the woods, if there's any way to get over the wall or get towards that window. She's looking for the path first.
As you step out of the car, Jude, you do see Sarah step out of the vehicle. You got 5 successes, Mel? Okay. Hang on to that for a moment. In your line of sight, Jude, you do see her step out of the vehicle. However, when your eyes pass over, you do see on the left side of the gate, several feet over on the actual wall, there are a couple of muddy footprints that go up the side of the wall and over.
I really hope that Luke is severely hurt or injured. I'm putting my neck out for him. I don't know why, and I'm gonna hit the thing one last time and just be like, can you send anybody to meet me face to face to talk about this, because this is urgent.
You push the button again, but the light does not turn on.
I'm gonna shoot a message to CJ and also did Kyla Lupo give us any contact information? Or anybody in the Camarilla?
Beyond any Blue? I don't believe
Oh,
so.
Benny Blue? Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to call
We
him.
do have Benny's contact info.
I am going to call him. It's perfect.
Okay. You dial that phone number, Mel, with 5 successes. You do ascertain that that company is tied into shipping and receiving, specifically out of Prince William. The contents has been up for debate, specifically in politics, because it has been tied to human trafficking. Or alleged human trafficking.
You shouldn't go. Okay.
Sarah. On the actual property itself, beyond the left-hand side of the house, you do see a white fence that's about 5.5 feet tall with solid paneling on it. You do see at the far end, there is a sign that says, "Beware of dog." On the opposite side of the property, you only see one car. It is a Mazda Miata, seemingly fully decked out, with rims, some type of body kit on it, possibly strobes. Besides that, on the actual property, nothing else stands out of the ordinary.
I think I'm going to make a call to Nosferatu I happen to know. And I'm going to see if they know anything about this particular place. Because this is my Maula.
Maula. So, 2 calls are going on at once. To expedite time, I'm going to have each of you pull a d10 and just give me a number on it. We will start with Jude.
Okay, just one thing.
Mhm.
Benny, I have Mala with Benny Blue, if that would benefit the situation anyway.
Only if you were currently by them. However, you were trapped in a house.
Yes, I guess that makes sense, yes.
1 success. I mean, I'm sorry. 1 on the D10.
1 on the d10. Sarah? What'd you get?
Just a second. I don't have a D10 with me.
How
so
dare you
I'm
not have
going to
dice in
roll.
front of you? You're going to roll
No,
fire.
no, I have
I did roll dice
vampire
off the bat.
dice in front of me. They're all
you.
vampire dice.
Damn you and your loyalty.
So I'm going on to roll 20 and getting something in there. But
You can easily go on to Google and just type in roll 1 d10. And it will automatically roll a d10.
okay, I didn't know that.
While they're doing that, Mel's just going to be looking up.
I got a 9.
Okay. Go ahead, Mel.
Mel's just looking up what she can about this human trafficking allegations towards Sinclair.
Okay. Jude, you attempt to call and it goes straight to voicemail.
I will leave a voicemail.
What is your voicemail?
Yes, I'm assuming this is Crime Stoppers Anonymous. Your little pet project is fucking up badly, and I just wanted to save you some embarrassment, but it seems like you're not answering your fucking phone, so you'll probably see it on the front page. I'll hang up.
Click. Sarah, yours goes through. Now, again, I don't have your character sheet. So, you'll have to give me a quick little
So I have
criblets.
a two dot Maula of a Nosferatu who is connected to Kyla Lupo.
Okay. Is it friendship based? Is it politically based? Is it romantically based?
it is the friendship of a friend. Based.
So it's a friend of a
So
friend.
the friend of a friend that's been ordered to ensure that I am taken care of.
What is this Nosferatu's name?
It on the-
I swear, next time I'll have all your character sheets.
No worries.
Let's say next time I'll just add you to the Roll20. You can see all the shit like that I do in Roll.
Truth.
So her name is Krista, and I don't really know her last name. I just know
That's
her
fine.
as Krista.
That's fine. You call. Rings a couple times. It picks up. Hello.
Krista, I need some help. There's an address here, and I know they're a clan, but I don't know much about them. And as you know, Luke's in.
We don't discuss those types of things over the phone. If this is an emergency, please try to code it the best you can. What symbol are you trying to discern?
Scepter.
Is it only a scepter?
Yeah, there's nothing else with it.
Okay. Does remind me of things a long time ago. There is a clan that was represented by just a scepter. They were told as aristocrats, blue bloods, royalty. Any particular reason why you require this?
Luke's gotten into trouble.
Why are you sticking your neck out for him?
As you know, he's part of my employees at the Three Monkeys. You're well aware that Joe and Luke are involved in my business.
They are. But do you hold him higher than an employee in your regard?
He's trying to help keep me safe, so that's the agreement we have.
I would tread carefully on any property that you find that symbol on. And I would get out as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can be of assistance with?
Not at this time.
I bid you good evening. The phone goes dead. Jude! What are we doing?
Right now, I'm still assuming I am a distraction, and I'm waiting for either them to get their shit together or something to happen. So right now, I'm just observing. I'm checking my phone to see if fucking I get a call back from the sheriff.
You don't have any callback.
And I'll probably message CJ as well and just be like, these fucking idiots. My patience is being severely tested. Do you know anything about? And I'll shoot the address.
You immediately get a text back from CJ. He says, "Let me look it up. It could take a couple of minutes."
I'm assuming it'll deal with things we dealt with 2 nights ago.
Very well. Please stand by. Luke,
Yes.
back at the door. What are we doing?
At this point, I think I've kind of overturned most everything, trying to find any kind of little exit. I'm sure I probably haven't found one. It seems this room is very secure. What is the door made out of?
To you, the door seems made out of wood. It seems like a standard door. However, you did hear something very large and very loud, very mechanical
Metallic, yeah.
activate in the door. You also currently hear footsteps, since your heightened hearing is still activated. Coming
Okay.
up the stairs. Only a single set.
Okay. When Luke hears this, he stops panicking as much. And he goes back into that like kind of cat position, low to the ground on his haunches. And he's gonna look for the best spot in the room that whenever somebody opens the door, he can just like pounce on them and just like tackle them.
You can make a fortification either behind the door, behind the desk, or on the opposite corner of the door. So when I say behind the door, it opens into the room. So
Yes.
you'd be either behind it as it opens,
Yes.
on the opposite corner, you'd be in the far corner as it opens, or behind the desk.
He's gonna be in the far corner because he's in like cornered rat mode. He's ready to like bite.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do hear the door key code be punched in with 4 buttons, and you hear the same sound as before. Although there is a heavier sound of something else that's disengaging.
Okay.
The door opens, and I need you to make me I'm gonna say wits and awareness.
Wits awareness. Let's do it. Okay. 3 successes.
3 successes. You see the end of a pistol that is coming in, and you now have
Okay.
5 seconds to react.
Okay. I'm going to take my 2 talons,
Pistol
put them together.
is followed by an arm,
Okay.
and you see the silhouette of a man.
Okay, as soon as the silhouette comes out, 2 fingers together, full speed pounce, going straight for his eyes.
Texan Brawl.
Okay, Dex Brawl. And I have a bonus for fighting people who aren't aware of the situation, like
Add it
ambush.
in. Add
Yes.
it in. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's Dex Brawl.
I'm going to have you throw an extra die on that, because this person is unaware of anybody's position in the room as it is.
Okay. That is 3 successes.
3 successes, he only had 1.
Okay.
As you turn, your hand sinks into this individual's face, and you hear
Okay.
a loud shriek. Your hand, from the fingers to the knuckles, down to the wrist, is now instantly covered in blood, because you smashed out light at the top of this room, and there was no light that was protruding specifically in that hallway. You don't know what you specifically marked up on his face. You just feel it.
Okay. I'm gonna just like slap it to the side, trying to like either just like try to like rip out whatever I can and pulling my arm out, and then just like and then just book it.
I'd like you to make me a Dex and Athletics.
Okay. Dex Athletics. Okay, I'm gonna willpower reroll this.
All right.
So it'll be one less willpower for me. So that's 3 successes.
3 successes. You go to push the individual. You just claw it up in his facial region against the door. You turn the corner. You have to go down the hallway you just came to get to the top end of the stairwell, or you can attempt to go back into the room you first entered from to go out that window.
I'm gonna go that way.
All right.
Yeah.
You head into that room, turn left, you open the door, it's unlocked. You are back in that bedroom again. When you first entered, you shut that window behind you.
Yes.
As you turn into the bedroom, all you hear is screaming behind you, and 2 other sets of footsteps running downstairs, but they haven't hit the stairs yet.
Okay. So the window's closed.
Yep. Just as
I'm
you
just
left.
I'm gonna take my talons and just kind of like try to like slice through it, or just like break the window basically, and then
You
go
can
through
easily
it.
Do that. You were blood surged as it is, so
Yeah, on strength.
I will give that to you automatically. You smash the window, you stick your arm in, add another half superficial damage onto your arm. There is now several cuts going up your forearm.
Okay.
And a couple of pieces of small shards of glass sticking out of that. Just smashed open.
Okay. I'm gonna exit and try to like make a stealthy escape.
How stealthy? Because you just
Like
smashed the
kind of
window.
trying, not like full out booking it, but like in a hurry. Like I'm gonna try to avoid obvious sight lines, but I'm not gonna like be creeping or like eyeing everything creeping around the dark.
So, because you just smashed the window, I'm gonna set this at difficulty 5.
Okay. So let's do it. That's 3.
All right. It's pretty hard to be stealthy after smashing a window.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. You clearly make it out. Sarah, Jude, and even Mel, you can hear through a closed window a smashing of glass. And all of you turn to the direction of the house. You do see an individual that's crawling out the window that's on the secondary roof. What direction are you currently attempting to go in? Down the roof line or jumping off?
I'm going down the roof line. I'm gonna try to go to the woods on either side.
Okay. The woods on the garage side or on the opposite side of the house?
I'm gonna go for the closest side, the garage
So that would
side.
be the opposite side of the house. So that would
Okay,
go
yeah, then
straight
that
into
side.
to the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah.
All right. You guys see a silhouette of a figure exit a window after hearing smashing, and then running down the rest of a second-story roof line, and then jumping off and attempting to bound into the woods.
Think
Several
we had cover.
seconds go by. You do see 2 individuals head out the front entrance and attempt to look around on the front lawn. Flashlights.
They would definitely see me.
You're about 75 yards away. They're not automatically focused on the front entrance.
Yeah, I'm staying there.
Okay. ladies.
I don't think we left
Which
the
direction
car.
did? Which direction did Luke go in?
Took off on the
Towards us
side
or
that I
away from
described
us?
to you earlier that had the fence line with the Puero dog
Yeah.
sign on,
Right. So closer
End of it.
to us.
closer to where your
I'm
car
gonna
is,
try and-
but vertical into the woods.
Right. So I'm gonna try and go through the woods towards where he would meet up, so
Okay.
that I can tell him, and we can book where the car is.
Mel, you see
I let
Sarah
Jude know
run up into the woods.
I think I was still in the car.
You are.
Yeah.
You would. I think if we made eye contact or you approached me, I would just start shaking my head no.
Yep.
Sarah.
Anyways, seeing them do that, Mel's going to just exit the car and just sort of Where's the car again?
The car is at the
Near the
far
woods.
left end of the front of the property, still on street.
Alright. We'll probably just go and just walk away from this casually. Not to divert suspicion right now. Just walking home, sort of like. But we're still looking up stuff about Sinclair.
Okay, so you actively have your phone out.
Yep, we're actively just on our phone, looking through stuff as we walk.
So you're going home, so in the direction that the car first came, before approaching the property.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're heading in the direction of Jude, who's currently standing at main street entrance. Sarah takes off into the woods. We are going to finish up this scene with Jude and Mel at main entrance. Mel, you approach Jude. Do you attempt to stop or just continue walking?
Hang on. What are we pulling up in regards to Sinclair and human trafficking?
You wouldn't even have to roll. It's a bunch of political allegations against the company specifically for that. They've been brought into court several times, but it keeps getting acquitted.
Yeah.
And this has happened over at least the past 5 years.
Yeah, no, that's good enough. We're gonna send a couple links of those articles to a couple people that we know who are rather large social movers.
Okay.
And we'll see what they do with that in the morning.
Okay. Jude, you see Mel approaching. Not focused on you, just casually walking and on her phone.
I will just say out loud, meet me at the hospital tomorrow.
Great. And she's just gonna keep walking.
Mel continues to walk. The two individuals that came out of the front of the house, they don't really seem to pay attention to the front entrance. They are very preoccupied with whoever just took off from this house out of that second story.
I will wave and say, I actually saw the person that just broke in.
One person runs back into the house. The other person starts to head down the driveway. As this person approaches, you see it's kind of a half business casual attire. There is a suit jacket, but it seems to be a black t-shirt underneath, a pair of slacks, black sneakers, not dress shoes. A male in his mid to late 30s that has a radio on his hip, flashlight in hand, doesn't seem to have any security-esque markings on his outfit at all. I'm sorry, sir. You said you saw who broke into this house?
I saw a silhouette of a person breaking out of the house, and I saw what direction that they were also running in.
He approaches up to the gate about maybe 6 to 8 inches on the other side of it. It's still shut. Can you describe this silhouette?
Yeah, it was very lanky, pale, and went, and I'll give like a rough estimate of where they went.
Are you giving the true estimate or pointing in a different direction?
No, I'm giving an actual estimate.
Okay. And
But it's like general. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, they went exactly
Okay.
that way.
I didn't know if you were gonna try to tell them, oh, they went the other end or not. And you are here because, and he takes a look to see if there's any cars or anything. He does see the car at the opposite end of the property.
I had wanted to set want to have business with, and I'll point to the symbol.
You wanted to have business.
Mhm.
Oh, you're the person that tried to call over the intercom earlier that didn't have an appointment.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And you just stood out here assuming that eventually somebody was going to come out.
well, I had a little bit more information. The emergency that broke out of your building.
Well, you stated that there was an emergency before
Mm-hmm.
somebody broke out of our building. So
Yeah.
what was
Yeah.
the emergency?
There was somebody in your building.
Okay, so how come you didn't call the police?
I prefer to tell you face to face. Look, I'm getting a little sick of this whole like charade thing. I want to talk to your boss, you know.
Who were you expecting as my boss?
Whoever owns this property.
It is owned by a corporation, but you'll have to be a little more specific. And you do overhear very loud in an earpiece that's in his ear somebody talking to him for at least a couple of seconds. And then he immediately goes to the side of the gate. He punches something in. The gate opens.
So you're speaking to him?
By all means, follow me, sir. And he turns around, starts heading up the driveway.
Look, I'll give him a card that just has my number, like no name or anything. Look, here you go. I will actually. I'll give you this, and we can set up a more formal thing, since that's your whole fucking deal, shtick, or whatever.
He turns around, comes down to the end of the driveway. Are you handing him like a business card?
Yeah, it just has a number with like no name.
Okay. Takes it. He calls into the earpiece again. Okay. It's just a phone number. Very well. He hands the card back to you, and he says, as I've been informed, I've been asked to have you leave the property and do not return here ever. If you do, we will pursue this in criminal action.
Sure. But you won't. You know, I do know things, like who broke into your fucking place, but what do I know? And I'll walk around and, like, turn around and just fucking leave.
He says,
Like, just walk.
"Have a nice day, sir." And he heads over to the gate, punches in the code. The gate shuts again. He starts heading up the driveway. Before you take off, you do see at the main entrance there is another silhouette standing. And whoever ran into the woods after Luke is actually coming back to the house. The silhouette at the entrance, you can clearly see. The eyes are pinpoint red, even from this distance. And that is where we are going to end this story for this evening. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. You can consider this kind of a side story. If Sylvanov is considered the dumpster fire, call me the smoke show. Where there's smoke, there's eventually going to be fire. Thank you very much for joining us. We're now actually going to go into our ceremonial at this point. Highs, lows, and nominations. So, we will put this around the circle. Sarah, high, low, and nom.
A high tonight was being a little more interactive with Jude, trying to figure out how Jude ticks. He's so stoic, it's very hard to figure out his character. The low point is trying to figure out how to break in without breaking in, because she's not at all into larceny or anything like that. But I can see where we can bring this story further if we desire. When you set up a corporation, well, that's right up Sarah's alley. So,
Absolutely.
And as far as a nom is concerned, well, Luke pretty much was the show. So.
Okay, I'll go next. First off, I want to say my highs were definitely everyone's ability to just like roll with everything. I mean, I brought up like the Ventru connection out of a vague conversation out with Sylvanov at like near midnight like a week ago, and I'm really glad our storyteller was so able to roll with that and like make up something around it. I think that's really cool. And I also think Jude also had a really good way to wrap his character into it, but it still feeling like it was his character doing it. So those would be my highs. Lows, I kind of feel a bit bad for taking up so much of the scenery, and I kind of apologize for that, but yeah, but
Somebody has to star every time, man.
The story goes where it goes.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah. And then as for a nom, I'll have to pick Jude, just because I feel like he had some really good character moments, really good character interactions. I really like the moment where he asked Mel like what to do and kind of implied that he was like giving her more autonomy or wanted to see what she would do with autonomy. So I thought that was a really cool character thing.
All right. Mel.
I think this was just a rather entertaining thing where I'm not the one starting the fire, nor am I involved in the fire. I'm just an innocent bystander. That's a very fun experience.
You may be a bystander, but you're not innocent.
I'd like to see somebody else taking all the cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did also like that I was able to dig up something on Sinclair, and I am rather excited to see on if I can successfully, make them go viral.
You never know. Anything can happen in Prince William.
Yeah.
Maybe a good distraction on this one. You know what I mean?
Any low?
Hello. I don't really have a low.
Okay. Nomination?
Luke for getting himself into trouble and also getting himself out of trouble.
We'll see about that one. I don't know if that's second part's true.
There's a lot of loose ends after this. It wasn't a clean escape.
Certainly wasn't.
It was not a clean escape, but he escaped.
He escaped.
Jude.
Okay, first of all, I gotta say, snaps for Michael. Everyone give it up. Like, thank you
that was
for
awesome.
storytelling.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And facilitating this. It's really cool. Hi, playing with everyone. Every week I look forward to playing with you guys. Also, the interaction's really solid. We got to see not necessarily different side of like Jude, but just more in-depth interactions with more characters, and you kind of uncover how he feels. And I really like seeing that, how all of you react as well. Low, I have to be mean to some people as this character, and I really like Mel and Luke, but I can't show it. Nam, yeah, Luke, you got it. It was fun.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I, for me, had to be seeing people out of their element and seeing how they were going to react. And you have 3 characters attempting a makeshift rescue operation. Who, again, I don't have the character sheets. I like to improv a lot more. But I'm assuming that all of you, like possibly not Mel, but all of you, don't really have a character that's built for breaking and entering or any type of super larceny stuff. So it's really interesting to see how people problem solve. Low is, I wish we could have extended this another 2 hours, but I was being respectful to certain people's wishes, and I hope to be able to do this more often to give more people, especially secondary and recurring characters, an opportunity to get on screen more. My nomination definitely has to go to Luke. It is a joy to be able to have characters' specific stories stand out. You have been pushing in the play-by-post about being able to break and enter, stealing items for specific unknown purposes currently. And it's nice to see that character progress, so it can branch out into something else eventually. I think all of you did an excellent job tonight. Definitely give yourselves a hand. I will submit all of this to the big man in Prince William, of course, but I would say overall, Luke would be receiving 3 points, everybody else would be receiving 2.
Yeah. Putting
Again,
that right back in the larceny.
Yeah. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Tune in next week, where who knows who shall be storytelling. You never know. Have a pleasant evening.
Night.
Hello, my name is Trevor Chapman, and I play Rico Suede on Prince William by Night, the Night Shift. I'm here to remind you that your mental health is a very important thing. We all have problems, and I do mean all of us. I personally have suffered from both clinical depression and suicidal ideation. Sometimes it can be hard to share our issues because we don't want to burden other people, or we're too afraid or ashamed of the things we have done or the feelings that we have to even try to reach out to other people. But friends and family are here for a reason. They would much rather hear that something is happening in your life and help you with it than to find out too late that they didn't even know and they couldn't even try. If you feel that you can't talk to your friends or family, there are other resources available for you to talk to. Please take advantage and reach out to them. There is no need for you to go through this alone. We all need help sometimes. There is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed or afraid to ask for assistance, especially if you need it right now. If you or someone you know is in crisis, whether they are considering suicide or not, please call the toll-free lifeline at 800-273-TALK to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline connects you with a crisis center within the Lifeline network that is closest to your location. Your call will be answered by a trained crisis worker who will listen empathetically and without judgment. The crisis worker will work to ensure you feel safe and identify options and information about mental health services in your area. Your call is completely confidential and free. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. If you are unable, unsure, or prefer not to speak in person, text the word NAMI to 741-741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor to receive free 24/7 crisis support via text message. You are not alone. Trained expert advocates are available 24/7 to provide confidential support to anyone experiencing domestic violence or seeking resources or information. Help is available in Spanish as well as other languages. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline toll-free at 800-799-SAFE. Again, that is 800-799-7233. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline toll-free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 800-656-HOPE. Again, that is 800-656-4673. You will be connected with a trained staff member from a sexual assault service provider in your area that offers access to a range of free services. For the Disaster Distress Helpline, call 800-985-5990 or text the word TALK with us to 66746. This helpline provides immediate crisis counseling for people who are experiencing emotional distress due to any natural or human-caused disaster. This multilingual, confidential, and free helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, call 800-985-5990 or text TALK with us to 66746.